Welcome back to the stock portfolio update videos. Currently, my two stock portfolios sit at a value of around $124,000. That's made up of the $55,368 in my Vanguard portfolio and the $68,685 in my stake portfolio. Between the two of them, I've been growing this portfolio for over 5 years now, and I recently did sell out of some to put into my cash position, but more on that later. This week I wanted to give a general quick portfolio update for the week on how things have been looking across my portfolio. Things have gotten a lot more easy since I simplified my approach and I sold out of some of my other positions. So I currently only invest in 5 positions now, and I used to invest in 3 more, which I sold out of. So I've gone from 8 to 5. So my portfolio in terms of my positions are getting smaller, but the amount hasn't changed too much. I sold around $11,000 worth of stock, but this is how we're looking. So you can see I've got Amazon at around 7,800 USD, Google at around 9,300, and Microsoft around 7,000 nearly, and then VOO at around 20,000. So that's kind of how my stake portfolio is looking. And then in my Vanguard account, you can see I just have one big position, which is the International Shares ETF, VGS, which tracks just the global share market with a pretty heavy weighting towards the US. This is how things have been going. So you can see my overall portfolio is up around 47%. It's been a bit of an up and down week. If we have a look at the S&P 500, you can see in the last week it's down close to 1%. In the last month it's quite flat, but there's been ebbs and flows, so ups and downs. In terms of the last year though, it's still been a good year, 13.25% the last trailing year, so I can't complain. It's been good for my portfolio and it's been allowing me to continuously build wealth across both these positions. Some of my individual stocks that have done quite well include Google. So Google's up 57% in the last year, which is great. If we look in the last 6 months, it's up around 67%, and my position is up around 68%. So up around 3,800 USD, which is very good, especially in the shorter period that I was investing in it. But you can see with the portfolio, I do kind of have a heavily weighted bias towards tech, as I do believe that's where a lot of the growth will be. It's where a lot of the growth has already happened, and that's what's helped grow my portfolio. But if we have a look at Amazon, you can see I'm around just under $8,000 invested, and I'm up around 19.5%, or 1,200. So this position still hopefully has room to run. In the last year, it hasn't done as well as some of the others, up around 11%. But I still believe in Amazon as a long-term play. If we look at some of my other holdings, so Microsoft is my final individual stock holding. I used to own Apple and Costco as well, other companies like JP Morgan, McDonald's, but I did sell out of them. But you can see Microsoft is up around 19.5% in the last year, which is very good. And in the last 5 years, around 142%. This is one of the original stocks I bought, and I'm sitting at around just under $7,000 in equity, and I'm up around 62% in Microsoft, because it has been one of those companies, like I mentioned, I invested in quite early. So in terms of my Vanguard portfolio, you can see, yes, it is just the one position. I used to have around $11,000 in this portfolio extra, which was invested into kind of like an Australian share ETF, which tracked the top 20 companies here in Australia. So that included the likes of the big banks, some of the oil companies, and so on. I did sell out of that as I don't believe it kind of suited my investment portfolio the best. It was good for dividends. I'll touch on dividends later, but I'm not a dividend investor, especially not at this part of my life. I'm still quite young, so my goal is kind of just capital appreciation and just kind of getting those gains. So I believe the VGS probably gives me a better chance of doing that. It is a bit more diversified as well, and I just see better growth externally. A lot of the big banks have shot up and they're trading at very high valuations, especially compared to global banks. And then even our oil companies faced a bit of pressure from regulatory, and I guess people aren't as big as fans on those businesses anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not saying you can't make money off them. It's just I needed to sell out of some positions as well towards saving towards a house deposit. So that's what I decided to do. You can see if we have a look at my portfolio, I do have 2,657 USD sitting here dormant. The reason being is I'm just letting it sit there because if I take it out, I have to pay an FX fee and things like that, where I might be selling more of this portfolio because I will need more money towards the deposit. So my goal is just to let it sit there until I finalize how much I'm going to be selling out of either portfolio, and then I'll withdraw the money. So yes, the 11,000's already come out from this portfolio, but in terms of my stake portfolio, it's just sitting there currently. That does mean at the moment I'm not investing in any shares. Things have gotten a bit more expensive, so I'm not fully upset about that in a sense. So I do kind of, for this little last quarter of the year, I haven't really been investing. I've been kind of just building my cash position, and so the goal is to build that up as much as I can so my deposit can get to around 10%. If we have a look at my Excel spreadsheet, you can see here this kind of breaks up the different positions I have and their balances over time. So you can see it's been up and to the right for stake, and same with Vanguard. This will be the first month where my Vanguard portfolio probably goes down. Maybe there was a little blip here, but so this will be the first major one where it kind of falls, but that's okay. I mean, it's part of the journey. And I am still going to be using that money to invest in just something else, just diversify into property as well, which will be leveraged, hopefully give me good returns, maybe tax advantages, things like that. So that's kind of the plan. Worst case scenario, I don't find anything I like, I'll just reinvest that money. It's not too bad of a situation I'm in currently. But yeah, overall, my goal would be to probably build my deposit up to around, so the deposit would be 10%. Let's say the property is 700,000. That's around 70,000. But then you also have closing costs, so that's another almost up to like 95,000. So I would have to sell more shares. Currently, my cash position is sitting in like the mid 30s. So I would need to sell even more shares. Trying to save up some money as we hit the end of the year. But yeah, that's kind of my goal with my investing at the moment. If we have a look at my dividends, nothing's changed. I track these dividends at the end of every month. So you can see October was a bit of a good dividend month for me as I got my quarterly Vanguard dividends. And my goal for this year was to hit $2,000 in dividends, which I'm going to probably just miss out on. But it was just an ambitious goal that I set. I thought I was going to hit it, but obviously I stopped investing. So it's kind of slowed down. And especially now that I've sold my VLC position, going forward, my dividends will be a lot smaller. But you can see my total dividends, which I was quite happy with from Vanguard, is nearly $3,000. And then my stake one's around 800, but that is USD. So when you convert that back to AUD, it's still pretty good. So my goal for these is all my dividends just get reinvested. So that's kind of my plan with my dividends. I plan to continue to do that. I don't want to draw out any money. I just want to use that as a snowball. And then those can also count as deposits. So that's extra money I don't have to put in myself. But yeah, overall, this is kind of how things are looking. With my investing plan, I think by the end of the year, I think my balance will probably stay the same or maybe go down if I do decide to sell out of more shares. I don't really see it rising much, even if there is a big rally in the market. I don't see much changing, so this is probably how I'm going to end the year, which is all right, but probably a bit less than what I had expected, but that's because obviously I'm investing in other things as well. I'm also paying for education, I'm doing a bit of travel, so there's other stuff that obviously has to get paid as well. So that's kind of how the portfolios are looking at the minute, but feel free to share how your portfolios are doing and what your thoughts are.